Okay, so now we're going to add the foliage to the mossed wreath ring. Your wire should already be attached. If it's not, you can just reattach it by wrapping it around a few times, and that will make it nice and secure. I have a selection of foliage which I'm going to use. I have some blue spruce, some rosemary, some eucalyptus cenaria, which is kind of the most popular one. I have some pine nuts, some cypress, really pretty, and some populus berries, which again is a type of eucalyptus. So to get started, I'm going to make a small bunch using a mixture of foliage. This will add some interest to the wreath. You can just use all one foliage if you want to, but I recommend using a variety. I think it works so much better. So we want some taller stuff at the back and then some smaller sprigs towards the bottom. So you have a bunch like that in your hands. If the stems are really long, you may want to cut them down slightly. And then we are going to place them onto the wreath. Now I am right-handed, so my bunches go on facing the left and they go on at an angle. And then we're going to bind the stems on the same way that we did the moss and leaving about an inch between each one. So it looks something like that, and it's off at an angle. And we're going to keep adding on bunches, but we're going to kind of overlap them slightly. So we're going to pop them on like so. So you're covering up the stems that you've just bound on, and again, nice and tight on this part, like so. And you can see that we are seeing this bit of the wreath, so we do want to cover that up. So to cover up that middle bit, we're going to put a slightly smaller bunch and we're going to just pop it in on the side. Now you don't want to make this too big because otherwise you will lose your hole. And again, we are just going to bind the stems on. And we're going to keep going like that until the whole wreath is covered. Okay, so when you get to the end, you'll find you've got this bit here, which is the bit you're working on, but you've got a gap before your first one. So we need to get a bunch into that area. And to do that, you need to make a bunch, pull this one back, and then using your binding, wiggle it through and make sure that it is nice and tight. Because this is the last one going on, we're going to go around 3 times, like so, and then we're going to tie the real wire off. So you want to cut it and then find the outer ring, pull it nice and tight, go round again, make a slip knot like so, cut it, and then just tuck that into the moss. Okay, so find where your string is at the back, and that's what we call your 12 o'clock. So that's how it's going to hang on your door. And what I want you to do is have a good look at it. I'm going to pop mine down in front of me with the string at the top, and I am going to see if there's any bits which are not quite filled, perhaps they need a little bit more. I've got a bit of a gap at the top here. So with the foliage that you've got left, you can just poke it straight into the moss. So take your foliage, cut it so it's got a nice pointy edge, and literally just pop it in. If you're going to use a bit of blue spruce to do this, you will need to take the pine needles off the bottom, because otherwise it will never go into your wreath. so, and we're just going to keep adding bits and pieces until we are happy with it. So you should have something that looks like this now. So nice and equal with the distribution of the foliage. And we're going to start to pop in some of the pretty things. So the wreath that I'm creating is our Winter Wonderland wreath. And as part of that, you will get some white thistle, some white hypericum berries, some lime slices. There's also some nice birch twigs in your kits as well. So we're going to start by popping in some of the birch twigs. This is just to give it a little bit more texture. And the same thing as what we did when we put in the foliage in. These can literally just be poked straight into the mossed frame. So one stick, you can break it down and get quite a few bits through it. Okay, so now we have the birch twigs in, starting to give it just a little bit more character, and we are going to add in the white thistle. Same principle as before, we're just going to cut them and pop them in. And then the last thing we're going to do is pop in the hypericum berries. Same thing again. Just going to cut them and then poke them into the wreath, like so. And there we have it. That's the wreath with all the flowers. Pop in the hypericum berry and the thistle. The last little bit that we've got, we have some lime slices, which we're just going to pop in for a little bit of extra decoration. So to attach the lime slices to the wreath, you're going to need to use a stud wire, which looks like this. And we're going to pop it straight through 2 lime slices, right by the rind, because that will help protect it. And then we're going to just bring it up, so we have a hairpin, and then just twist them so they are nice and secure. So to pop them into the actual wreath, make sure you've got your stud wires together, and we are going to just poke them straight through, and then the wires should come out the other end. Until we've got all the lime slices on. So now all your lime slices are in. This is what your wreath is looking like. So really, really pretty. What I want you to do now is to find where your string is. So that's the top of my wreath there. And we're just going to finish off by popping a little bow. Now it's up to you whether you put the bow at the top of your wreath, or whether you put it at the bottom, or whether you put it on the side. Whatever suits you. This one here, it's on the side, looks rather nice. It's literally personal preference. So you will have some ribbon in your kits, or if you've got ribbon at home that you'd like to use. I'm going to put a very, very simple bow on. So I've got some nice floaty tails. Just going to fold it over once, twice, like so. Cut the end. It looks a bit like that. And then squeeze it together. Pop a wire around it. Twist. I'm going to put mine at the bottom of my wreath, and I'm just going to do exactly what I did when I was attaching the lime slices, and pop it straight down to the bottom, and then fold the wires back through. And there you go, there is your completed wreath, which you can pop on your door, be the envy of your neighbours, and you can say, I made that. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. There'll be more coming each week on the lead up to Christmas. If you have any comments, please let me know. Any products I will tag into the comments for you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.